So eating junk food, how does this work? Usually what would happen if, like, let's say I have this bad habit of eating junk food. And in fact, at one point in my life, I did have this habit. So let's say I have this habit and I really want to stop because I know it's not healthy and I don't like how fat it's making me. So normally what would happen? Normally I would go, I'd maybe watch some videos, I'd read a book, I'd take a nutrition class or something, and there they would tell me, how bad it is that I'm eating this junk food. And so then I would guilt myself into like, oh, well, I shouldn't eat that cheeseburger and I shouldn't eat that chocolate and I shouldn't eat that candy and so forth. Right? And normally what I would say to myself then is I'd say, okay, I got to really put the screws to myself. I got to get serious here. I got to take massive action. I got to go on a diet. I can't eat this stuff and I can't eat that stuff. All this is wrong. I got to eat like healthy vegetables. I got to really restrain myself. I got to like summon massive willpower. And I got to watch myself like a hawk so I don't screw up. That's the usual solution that we try. And what happens? Well, it might work for a little while, but then what happens is that your willpower eventually erodes and you give in, and then the whole thing just gets shot to hell and you're back in your old patterns within a week or a month or something like that. Now, what would happen if you tried this alternative method that I'm suggesting? If you realized, oh, awareness alone can be curative. Now let me apply that to this situation. And what would that look like? What it would look like is something like this. You're sitting at a nice restaurant, your favorite restaurant with all your friends on a Friday night, and you really want to splurge tonight. So you ordered the double extra greasy 1.5 pound cheeseburger with double cheese and double bacon and ranch dressing and barbecue sauce and a big thing of fries and onion rings, and you got a 1,000-calorie milkshake, and this is like your favorite meal, and you're just, you're going to splurge yourself tonight because you worked hard all week. So you're sitting there and you're going to eat this thing. So what you do is you let yourself order all this stuff. You don't prohibit yourself, but you do it consciously. So as you're sitting there and you're ordering and you're telling the waitress, hey, I'd like double bacon and double cheese and extra ranch dressing and give me some onion rings and all this stuff. As you're ordering that, you're just doing it fully consciously with awareness. And you're trying to maintain that awareness throughout as you're placing your order, knowing full well what it's leading to. You know what it's leading to. Then when the waitress brings over your burger, you're going to sit there and you're going to eat it. Now you're going to do it not like you normally would. You're going to do it with full awareness. So here what you do is you look at this burger and you just sit there and you look at the grease dripping down from it and you just look at it with full awareness. Now, as you're doing this, you're not judging yourself, nor are you judging the situation. So you're not telling yourself, this is bad, I shouldn't be doing this. No, just the opposite. You let yourself do it. No judgments at all, but you do it with awareness, right? You see the grease dripping down the burger, and then you take your first bite, and you notice that bite going down, and you already notice that bite, there's something a little bit dirty about it. It doesn't feel quite right. But anyways, it's also enjoyable, so you notice that too. And then you take the next bite and the next bite, and you're just noticing how this thing is making you feel. And then, as you're eating more and more and more, and you feel like all of a sudden you're full now, but still you're taking more and more bites. And so you just sit there and you mindfully watch that. You observe it. And then you notice yourself starting to feel nauseous, starting to feel sick, starting to feel heavy and sleepy and achy and bloated, and maybe you're having heartburn or indigestion or whatever, and you just watch that. You don't judge yourself. You don't tell yourself this should have not happened, that this is wrong, that whatever, that this is going to make you fat. You don't do any of that. You just watch in silence. And then when you go home after you've consumed this giant meal, you watch yourself. On your drive back home, you watch yourself. How am I feeling with this giant meal in my stomach? And you just observe that. And then 2 hours later, when you're sitting at home and you're so sleepy, you got to take a nap because of this giant meal and you can't do your work or whatever, you just notice that too. And then when you're going to sleep and you're not feeling very good, you have a stomach ache, you notice that. You don't judge it, you just notice it. And then when you wake up in the morning and then you have to go to the shower and you undress to go to the shower and you notice that you have a big gut sticking out, you notice that. And you're just fully aware of it without judging yourself. And then if you do that day after day after day after day, at some point what will happen is that you will become so aware of the absurdity of the situation and how much damage you're causing yourself that you're not going to have to force yourself or guilt yourself into not eating that burger anymore. What's going to happen is that your friends one day will invite you, hey, let's go out Friday night and go to our favorite restaurant and order some greasy food. And you'll just say, I don't feel like doing that today. Because your mind will have by that point become fully aware of how much suffering you're causing yourself. So that's an example of how you apply this. And you might know that eating a greasy cheeseburger that has 3,000 calories of bacon in it probably isn't good for your health. You know that. But that's not awareness. Awareness is something very, very different. Awareness is a in-the-moment observation of what's happening. Knowing is something like a memory. You can just know a fact and store it in the back of your mind, and you can then pull it up once in a while. That's not awareness. Awareness is right now. Are you aware right now as you're engaged in whatever activity, whatever the activity is, as you're engaged in it? Are you aware of what you're doing? And that is a skill. You have what we might call an awareness muscle in your mind. And this muscle is flexed every time that you are being consistently aware.